Hi everyone, it's Blair here, aka the Mad Scientist. And yesterday I saw a short video on YouTube of a fella that was using a simple electrical DC, AC to DC converter block to power a small homemade pen, burning pen. So I thought, well, I've got a lot of these bricks around, maybe I should give it a try and see what happens. What I do have here is a household rheostat. So these plugs are connected to the rheostat, so I can connect these bricks to this rheostat and control the voltage slowly by rotating the dial. I got some test leads. I have some pens, 3 different pens from 3 different manufacturers. I've got 4 bricks at 22 volt. It's 500 milliamp. 15 volt, it's 1.4 amps. A 12 volt, it's 2.5 amps, and a 3 volt, that's 300 milliamps, just to try. And so let's give it a go and see what happens. I also have a little connector that'll allow me to plug my RCA into whatever we've connected. So let's go ahead and hook this up. First I'll put in the 3 volt one. Just need to connect these leads, one to each side here. The other end of the lead just simply goes to the 2 wires. I just cut the connector off there for radios or something like that. So one to each one. Doesn't really matter which way because you're just shorting them out anyway eventually. So that's it all set up. The first pen I have here, and we'll just start with it, is a Peter Child. And if I plug it in, then it should make the connection in there. I have a little, move that out of the way, have a little piece of basswood here that I can try. So now we'll turn it on, turn the rheostat up. It's about halfway there. Not getting anything at all. Turn it up further. Still nothing. I got it cranked all the way up to the end. And I got nothing. I don't have any heat at all there, as you can see. So we'll turn that one off. So I think the 3 volt one isn't going to do much good. So now we'll try the 12 volt one. So this is a 12 volt, 2.5 amp. So it'll provide 2.5 amps if it's needed. Turn it on. Okay, so now it's on. And I'm not having any luck with it either. Let's turn it up a little hotter. The household rheostat isn't a very good voltage controller. The fellow I saw doing it on YouTube, he didn't have a rheostat, so it was just a single heat. And this one doesn't seem to produce anything. I got it turned all the way up now, and still nothing. So we'll turn that one off. So that was the 12. Now I have a 15 amp, big heavy duty 15 amp one. Kind of awkward here in the plug, but and we'll start it up. Oh, and there you go, we have fire, as you can see. So it's burning red hot. The end is very hot. I can turn it down a bit. So I can control the heat somewhat with this rheostat, but it's pretty touchy. What's going on now? Yeah, so it's very touchy. I'm not sure if a digital one would be easier to control, but if you just want to try pyrography on the cheap, you could actually make a pen as well. What I'll do now is I'm going to just shut this off. I'm going to connect a different pen. We'll try the Burnmaster with a homemade. This is a homemade spoon shading bit. So now it's the Burnmaster pen. Same device, the 15 volt. Somewhere around here it starts. It's about 3/4 of the way up. Oh, maybe it isn't going to go with this pen. This tip, see it is starting there. Can do a little shading. Get up a little bit more. It doesn't like that. It doesn't like that pen. So with the 15 volt cranked all the way up and this Burnmaster pen, it doesn't want to heat it up. I just think that this pen takes way more current or something, and the tip is bigger. As you can see, the wire is quite a bit larger. So we'll turn that one off, and we'll try the last one I have is a 22 volt, 500 milliamp DC, AC to DC converter. We'll plug that guy in. I still got my spoon shader in that I made, homemade, so this is the 22 volt. And it won't power it either, I don't think. It looks like they're only capable of doing that very small wire. That's all the way up. I do have another pen here. Turn this off. This pen is from a supplier that went out of business. I think they were in the US, and I think the family, something happened to the owner, and the family didn't want to carry on. So it still is quite a heavy wire with a lot of material to heat up. So I think if we turn this guy up, right up to high, that's not getting any heat either. So we'll try it with the smallest, the Peter Child pen again. Peter Child, and it's got, like I say, I don't know what it is. It's probably like a 24, 26 wire. Oh, that's not her. Oh yeah, so that doesn't get as hot as the 15 for some reason. But if you wanted to try pyrography, I suppose you could try with one of these bricks. They don't stay hot very long though. They cool, the tips cool off quite quickly. And that's turned all the way up on the 22. So that's 22, and it's 500 milliamps. So the most powerful one I found here, it's 15 volts, and it's 1.4 amps, and I'm sure the amperage has a lot to do with it, what it can supply. So this is the one that seemed to work the best. So you can see it gets that tip really hot in a hurry. I don't know if it would melt it or not, but what I'll do now is I'll try changing that to a small ball writing tip. Well, I couldn't find a small ball writing tip, but I think these are all tube. So you can see the size of the wire there. Peter Child's, the connections here is solid, but it's a little finicky. So now this is quite a bit bigger wire, as you can see. There's the Peter Child wire, there's this one. So we'll turn this guy back on with this homemade tip I have here. Crank it up, and I don't think it'll get hot either. Not hot enough to burn anyway. Bricks would work, but you'd have to use very, very fine nichrome wire. I would say in the 26, probably about 26 gauge. Just thought while I was on the subject I'd try and make a tip to see if it'll work. So this is wire from a heating element from a hair dryer, sort of like, looks like that to begin with. We'll just quickly make one and try it in my Burnmaster pen, because I'm not sure if it's the pen that's the problem. So this would be typically a writing tip, very similar to that Peter Child one that I was using. If you can see that. We'll stick it in the Burnmaster pen. Maybe if I could see what I was doing. Sorry, the cameraman is not really doing a good job here today. I had pulled all this apart too before I decided to do this, so we'll have to plug a bunch of things back in. Okay, so that's the Burnmaster pen with a tiny tip. I think it's a 26 or 28 gauge wire tip that I just made from hair blower wire. So plug that in, things ready to go. We'll turn that on. See what happens. Need glasses. Oh yes, that fired up pretty hot there now. It's very difficult to adjust the temperature very much. I'd like to get a digital rheostat or a solid state, rheostat, and try it. As you can see, this would give you something to try. It will work. It's just, it has to be a very fine wire. I guess they just don't have enough power. And as I said before, they cool off very quickly. They don't burn consistently. The longer they're out of the wood, the hotter they get. So if you're drawing a line, it would get lighter as you went along further. So what did we learn? I think we learned that in a pinch, if you want to learn, you want to try pyrography before spending a bunch of money, if you can find a brick like this, I'd say around 15 or 22 volts. I think it's good to higher amperage if you can get 1 or 2 amp. I think you could actually then either buy a pen, just the pen, or you could make a pen. I think there's some videos on YouTube show you how to make one of these things. And so you could do, you could learn or see if it would work for very little money, and don't know how long the bricks would last, but if you decide you like it, then you could probably buy a better unit. Thanks for watching.